Hey, what's up everyone? It is me, Danny Lightning. Hope you guys are doing awesome today. So we're going to show you guys the importance of cutting off the low frequencies or the unwanted bass frequencies from your recording. So right now you're hearing my voice with no filters, nothing to change the way the low end sounds. You're probably hearing some room resonance. This is a very sensitive condenser microphone, and my room does have some low end resonance. I don't know if it's the bass frequencies bouncing off the desk or what they're bouncing off of, but it probably sounds a little bit boomy, a little bit muddy right now. So if we take this high pass filter, which is designed to let the highs pass and cut off the low end, and put it somewhere around like 80 hertz, this should be a pretty good place for my voice. So if you look at this here, this is the fundamental low end of my voice. It goes down to around 60 hertz. Now, I could set this higher and cut off a little bit more of that unwanted sound, but that hump right here, that's just the unwanted junk from the room, and we're trying to remove that from the recording. But you don't want to take out too much of your voice either. So right around 111, if my voice is sounding a little bit too thin, I can kind of move this over to like 90 and see if my voice is still sounding thin. Let's try it around on about 80. So there we have it on 80 hertz. That's probably a pretty good place. It's still letting a little bit of that junk in, but not too much. If we go down to like 60, it's probably letting still too much of that junk in. Now, I can't always change the way this filter performs. I mean, this is something you got to kind of play with, but if I put it around here and move it to about 75, that's getting rid of most of the junk, and that really shouldn't be cutting into the fundamental low-end frequencies of my voice, but it should be getting rid of that unwanted room junk right there. So, I mean, bottom line is a high-pass filter to cut off the unwanted low end is a very important thing. If you're listening on a really good set of headphones right now or a set of studio monitors, you should probably notice there's a lot less room rumble and junk in the recording than we had a minute ago. Let's go ahead and turn that high pass filter off. So this is what it sounds like without it. Are you hearing more resonance? Are you hearing more of that boomy, unwanted low frequency coming back into the recording? My guess is you probably are. Let's go ahead and turn that back on. So let's turn it back on. That should be cutting out a lot of it. But for my voice, somewhere between like 60, right around 60 hertz. I mean, there's still a little bit of that coming in, but it's cutting out most of it. But it's actually extremely important to cut out any unwanted low-end frequencies because they can make your recording sound muddy. They can make your recording sound harder to understand. But you just want to find the right frequency for whatever you're recording. You don't want to cut out too much of the low end, or it will make your voice start to sound thin. Like if we high pass too much right there, I mean, you know, that's probably not sounding good. So we can pretty much cut out most of the bass frequency from my voice from around 200, or we can move it over here to around 100. I mean, I could probably get away with my high pass filter at 100. That's going to be cutting out all of the unwanted frequencies, but that is probably making my voice sound slightly thin. So depending on how deep your voice is, depends on where you put your high pass. But anyways, for me, somewhere maybe around right here, 70-ish, 75, 80, somewhere in that ballpark is a very good place for me to put it with like an 18 on the slope. I mean, you can kind of change the slope on most of these high pass filters on most EQs, but you know, 12 is kind of like the standard. I think 18 is okay to use as well. So it's just something you kind of got to play around with. Now, if I come over here and I go to post, now this will show you after the EQ is being applied, you're going to see most of that junk is gone from my room. There's probably just a little teeny tiny bit of it down here. So let me go and hit the freeze button so that you can see what frequencies the microphone is now picking up. So there's a little bit of junk. There's a little teeny bit of junk down here, but that's so small, you're probably barely noticing it. So this looks like a pretty good place for my voice right here. If I move this back over to around like 60, let's go ahead and freeze and unfreeze that again. And let's see what it's picking up around 60. Yeah, there's a lot more of that low-end crap coming back in, but it's still probably getting rid of enough of it that it's not going to be an issue. But somewhere between 60 and 80 is normally really good for most voices. If it's a higher pitched voice, maybe 100 or 120. But for your average male voice that's got a little bit of low end in it, probably around, 60 hertz to 80 hertz will be a great spot. So there's around 60. Let's move it back up to about 80, and that's how it sounds. And again, if we remove that high pass filter or move it over to where it's not really doing anything, you probably hear that my voice sounds a lot more boomy, and you probably hear all of that unwanted low end coming back in, but it'll just clean up your recording and make your recording sound so much nicer when you put a high pass filter in the proper place. So there we go. But bam, high pass, very, very important.